a 10 de la noche en el anfiteatro del San Juan Shopping Center. Disfruta de actividades para toda la familia, shows navideños, pista de patinaje, malabaristas, pintacaritas, inflables y mucho más. No te pierdas un fin de semana lleno de festividad y alegría. CEPEM, energizando la Navidad.
Ey, ya estamos de feria en Ferretería La Imagen. Todo el mundo está de fiesta, se rifarán 10 Navi. No dejes que te lo cuenten, tendremos mucha sorpresa. Tú puedes ser el ganador que en Ferretería La Imagen. Pero es tiempo de celebrar, mega feria se desborda. 10 Navi se rifarán, no hay duda que uno de esos te toca. Coloreando con pinturas tropical pa' que no falle. La mega feria está en Ferretería La Imagen.
En Ferretería La Imagen te damos la oportunidad de ganarte 10 Honda Navi. Participar es muy sencillo. Por la compra de 1,000 pesos recibes un boleto y de nuestras marcas patrocinadoras el doble de boletos. Uno de estos Navi podría ser tuyo. Solo aquí en Ferretería La Imagen, tu imagen en ferretería.
Desde Bávaro, el mejor estudio audiovisual del este es Punta Cana Hits 90.3 FM, donde la frecuencia y la calidad se encuentran. Punta Cana Hits, lo mejor está aquí. Sintoniza y conéctate, no te lo puedes perder. Talk Show Bávaro, tu Cabello Radio. Good Morning Bávaro, sonido urbano, somos barrio. Perros Verdes, Mario Fama y Bozo, Punta Cana, Club Sabroso, programas que mueve la audiencia, no engaña. Punta Cana Hits 90.3, en la radio, en la web, síguenos a donde estés. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok y YouTube, somos los líderes en cada esquina, en cada club. Punta Cana Hits, conéctate, vive por ti. 90.3, los más activos en las redes y en tu radio, sí. ¡Perra Valores! Sí. Punta Cana Hits, conéctate, vive por ti. 90.3, los más activos en las redes y en tu radio, sí.
Every Friday at 7 p.m., Punta Cana Hits presents What's Up Punta Cana with Christy Maggio, the #1 English talk show in the area, with the best that the Dominican Republic and the rest of the world have to offer.
Okay, what's up, Punta Cana? This is Christy Maggio, and I am here for another episode of What's Up, Punta Cana. And so tonight I have a very special guest here with me. His name is Germán Cabello, and he has 2 different businesses, and I think that you may have more, but one of them is GC Star Punta Cana, which is wedding entertainment here in the Punta Cana area, or even probably all across the Dominican Republic. But also, what I love about you, and that I discovered through our friend, is you have Geeks Sobre Ruedas, which is your show, commentary show on Formula One and IndyCar.
Correct.
And so you are literally revolutionizing and storytelling all of the things that are going on in Formula
motorsports.
in motorsports. And you travel the world talking about and meeting all of these incredible people, the drivers, everything that goes on behind the scenes. So welcome to What's Up Punta Cana. I'm so happy to have you here, and I can't wait to ask you the million questions that I have for you.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I know about this radio station since a long time, and I'm really honored to be here.
Excellent, excellent. So how is it that has motorsports always been something that you love?
I mean, it grew on me. I mean, at the beginning, he was more like my father. When we were kids, we were watching a little TV with Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, that era. I was a little kid. I saw Ayrton Senna passing away live. So there was something about Sundays in the morning, raising the volume and watching these cars. It was a totally different era, right?
Right.
But that was my first connection with it. I always loved cars since I was a little kid. But obviously, the more you grow and the more you understand it, it grows and grows and grows. And then we had a Mexican driver called Adrian Fernandez, which drove for a kart, which is now IndyCar. It was called the Champ Car before, kart. And I had the chance to go and watch him in Mexico City in the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez when I was 16 years old. And watching the cars, listening to the engines was out of this world. And I really liked it. And then I have to say that for a while, I didn't follow up the Formula One or IndyCar. We lost the driver. Adrian Fernandez retired, and we didn't have a Mexican driver. So, and then, life happens. You start working and everything. And I was just not that hooked up. But then we got a Mexican driver again in Formula One, which is Sergio Perez, Checo Perez. And pretty successful. He's been in F1 for the last 13 years, and I would say probably I came back to watch and connect with Formula One since him. But then in the pandemic, I was kind of bored because there was not too much work, and I decided to start the YouTube channel. Not exactly as a Formula One channel. It was more like a channel of reviews of cars because I always loved cars. So we were getting these fancy cars of friends and reviewing them, taking a lap with it and recording all that with a friend that is a videographer. But then eventually I discovered that people was looking for Latin American people talking about Formula One. There was no market back then. Right. So by accident, I recorded an interview. I posted on the YouTube channel, and I was getting 400, 500 views. And then suddenly I got 50,000 because of that interview. It was for me, that was viral, right?
Yeah, that is viral. 40 to 50,000 views on.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? I think we're going to, I told my friend, we're going to keep making more content about Formula One. I started doing opinion videos and all that. But my friend didn't like that much Formula One. No. He was not that hooked up with it. So, eventually I discovered that the line of the channel was going to be Formula One. And that's the moment that I have to be honest, is when I went 100% into it. Understanding better, analyzing all the strategies and compounds and how the boxes work. And there's a lot of things, the analytics, all the information, metrics and all that. Right. I started to study about it and all that. And I told him, you know what? I have this camera. I didn't have that much money because it was pandemic. And I have this camera that you really like. Let me give it to you and let me keep the channel. Because eventually this is going to be a problem. And I know you're not passionate about this. Right. So that's what we did. And then we started growing and growing to a point where right now we have over 140,000, close to probably 100. Yeah, I don't remember the number, but close to that.
143,000.
Oh, there you go. You know the number.
I was looking because I even went back. I went back to your first videos because I love that. I love seeing the growth. Because a lot of people nowadays think it's just instant, and looking back at the growth in the beginning videos and now what you have the videos at now, you see the progress, you see the growth. Who was that first interview?
Well, that interview that is on the main page, right? Is that the one that you're talking about?
The one that you were just talking about, that you said that you guys were just first talking about cars.
It was Checo. It wasn't me. It was Checo Perez, which was being interviewed in a Mexican TV channel. It wasn't even I have to say, it wasn't. That's not right, guys. But it wasn't even my content.
But that's okay because you're repurposing whose ever content that was, and they're also getting the views. Exactly. So it's all right.
Yeah.
So
and well, we have over 140 something thousand. We have a big community called the Geek Army, which is very important, and we love the Geek Army. They are amazing people. I can tell you 1,000 of things, but that I can't even cry about them. Like this girl from Argentina called Priscilla, which is in every episode, every video commenting, and she's our friend. She's our friend. She's from Argentina. She lives in Argentina.
Wow.
You know the situation in Argentina.
Yeah.
She has 3 jobs.
Wow.
And one day she decided to become like the highest level of membership as a member of Geeks Over the Rest and pay like $100 every month to be a member and sponsor us and support us. We have over 300 members right now that sponsor us, and we have obviously other ways like Patreon and other ways that people, and obviously we get monetization also from YouTube.
Sure.
But you know, like it's not about the money, but but at the end, it's like you know that this person loves you so much that you know, and you mean something to them, you know, in their lives. So I have this other friend called Guadalupe. I call them friends because they become friends. I met her in person, but she told me, you know, like my father passed away, and you are the reason. You were my getaway in my depression because my father passed away. Like you don't understand what you're doing sometimes, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, right now we are reaching over 10 million views every month.
Wow, that's incredible! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. What is it? So Checo drives for
right now Red Bull. Yeah.
Yes, because I remember when I visited there, and I just wanted to make sure that he didn't go somewhere else. But him, and then there's Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen, yeah.
And I think they have an incredible team. And Red Bull still does the changing of them. I was just talking about this with Franklin earlier. They change the tires still in the
less than 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
It is
unbelievable.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, and I think it's important to understand because one of the things that you mentioned that you had to do in order to be the go-to expert, so to speak, or commentary people is that you had to study.
Yeah.
You really needed to know the ins and outs of what people do and what they want to know and what's the strategy behind it. Because, and I know nothing about the strategy behind it. I just know that it goes, vroom, vroom, you know?
Yeah.
So what is one of the main strategies behind it? What is the one thing that, like when a big race, like the Las Vegas race just happened, what is one of the big things that people want to hear about?
Okay. So first of all, let me put you in context because I think it's important. These cars travel 5 miles, 4 miles, and they have a difference each lap of less than a second. So all of them are super fast.
Right.
All of them are traveling at over 200 miles per hour. And little things, little tweaks here and there are the ones that make the difference. So if I tell you what is the most important thing, would be impossible. Tire compound, the aerodynamics, the way the rear wing works, the way the front wing works, the way the chassis is built to handle all the air, the way the floor is super important nowadays because these cars work with something called the ground effect, which is because of the low pressure under the flat surface, it creates like a suction effect, and that's what makes the car to be like almost stick to the ground. Even they say that if you put the car over 200 miles per hour in a tunnel, you would be able to raise those cars upside down without falling.
Oh my God.
Because of the aerodynamics, the way it works, because of the suction that I'm talking about. So all that is what the little things and tweaks and here and there are the ones that make the difference. And obviously also the hands of the driver.
Okay.
We call them pilots in Spanish.
Okay, that's driver. Okay. The driver, the pilot.
Yeah.
They are the pilots.
Yeah.
So, but because they actually, one thing that I learned when I was at Red Bull Racing is that they actually have to fit the steering wheel to their hands. Like there's a special way of them.
Not only that, to their butt, to their back, to their shape of their body. They have like this flexible material that is like a foam. In that way, they design specifically the seat for them. based on their body.
Okay.
It's not a generic seat. It's something unique for each one of the drivers. And that's the way they feel the car. They actually feel the car. They are one with the car.
Right.
You know, you remember Avatar, the movie, where
Yeah.
they connect to the tail?
Yep. They are one with their car.
Literally, this is what happens with the drivers. And it's so amazing, everything that happens there. And obviously, people also like to know about the gossip and everything surrounding that, you know. Also, too, that's
So
something.
what is some of the gossip that surrounds it?
Right now, Checo Perez might lose his seat. Right now, Checo Perez didn't have a good season this year, and the situation is difficult, and everybody's talking about it. Some people say he won't leave. Other people say that for sure he's going to leave. So that's the situation going on right now.
He'll leave Red Bull and go to a different team, or he'll retire?
That's a pretty good question. We don't know. He's been 14 years, as I told you. He's reaching an age where he might be in a retirement age too. He reached the pinnacle of or the top of his career because he reached Red Bull, right? Like the most important team right now. He made his teammate to become 4 times world champion.
Yes.
And he was 2 times world champion with the team, 1 time sub champion. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously he reached very important things in his life, but right now they are not treating him that good because of the politics, the way the things work.
Of
right?
course.
It's business.
Of course.
Corporate.
Everything, all the behind the scenes and everything that everybody doesn't know, or all of the like you said, it's politics, it's business. You know,
Exactly.
if you're not going to perform, you're out.
Exactly.
You could win 10 in a row and you lose 2.
You're as good as your last result.
Exactly.
Yeah, and in this case, obviously, when we understand Formula One, we see certain things that probably not everybody sees. Like we understand, for instance, that he's not getting exactly the best car. Even for Max Verstappen, it was really difficult to get the championship this year. He just got it in Las Vegas, actually. You know, so he didn't win that many races. Obviously, the car fits him better than Checo Perez because the main driver is Max Verstappen.
Okay.
So obviously, when you are not the main driver, you get something, and then you have to accommodate to it. The aerodynamics, everything that I'm telling you about, everything is designed in the way Max Verstappen feels comfortable.
So why do they do that to him then?
It's not that they are doing it to him. It's just the way teams work. They always have a driver number 1 and driver number 2.
I gotcha.
You know, and it's not that they are doing that to him. It's just that Max Verstappen is, since the beginning, the jewel of the crown. He became one of the youngest drivers to start driving with them and everything. So obviously, everything is designed surrounding him. Again, it's corporate. He's the one that sells the stuff. Well, Checo Perez sells a lot too, for Latin America and everything. But it's just the star, and I understand that. And Checo Perez knew it too.
Right.
It's not like he came to the team not knowing that.
Right.
It's one of the challenges that you face as a driver, and with your ego. All these people, remember, are the best 20 drivers in the world.
Right.
The 20 fastest people in the world.
God.
So obviously, all of them want to win. And they came from winning so many categories before. So they have this championship, champion mind, right?
Right.
So at the end, that's the circumstances right now. I hope, to be honest, if he doesn't continue with Red Bull and he cannot, right now all the seats are taken for 2025. So if Checo Perez doesn't continue with Red Bull, that would mean that at least he would have to stop for a year. And to be honest, no, I think that might not be as bad. Probably you didn't know this, but Cadillac is going to be in Formula One in 2026.
Cadillac.
They just were accepted like less than a month ago.
Wow.
So there are going to be 11 teams. And I think an asset like Checo Perez representing everything that he represents for the continent and with the experience he has would be a great option for them. So, would be coming from a second role part, Checo Perez in Red Bull, to be probably the main actor for Cadillac developing the car. I'm not saying that he's going to win from the beginning, but also that feeling of being important and being pampered and all that is important, right?
Of course. Now, when does when does the 2024 season end and 2025 season begin?
Well, the season ends this weekend
Okay, where?
in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Okay. Right now, they are like I just commentate today the
Okay.
practice number 1, practice number 2, because that's also something we do. We commentate the races. So tomorrow is the practice number 3, qualifying, and then Sunday is a race, and we're done. And then in approximately March is when we start having the preseason testing, and then the first race.
So once Abu Dhabi's done, then
3 months.
Then Checo will.
We will find out.
out.
Probably in the next week or 2, we are going to find out what's going on with him. Also, I don't think it's going to be that easy to get rid of him, like if they want to, because they will have to pay a lot of money. Because he has huge sponsors and
Right.
a very blind, how do you say it, like protected contract.
Of course.
So I don't think it's going to be like that easy. And everybody's like aware of that. So we'll see. The English part is looking for him to go, and obviously the Latin American part
Of course
is looking
not.
for him to stay.
Right, of course. But my question then would be is, in your opinion, aside from Latin America or, American, whatever it is, do you think that he would be better off retiring? Do you think that he would be better off taking a year and seeing about the Cadillac offer? Or do you think that he would benefit more from staying and then perhaps going to Cadillac?
Well, here I would have to say something that doesn't do anything with the sports, and is that he's a father of 4 children. So
Wow.
I think that he would have to consider that personally, like family is so important.
Of course.
And these people are out of their houses 280
Yes.
days of the
Yes.
year. So obviously he has missed a lot of things. Obviously he can provide a lot of things too, but
you don't get the time
If you're a
back.
person of family, might be a decision maker, right? Like a decision
Sure.
factor. So I would think
Does
that
his family travel with him?
sometimes, not all the time, because this, like if the kids are already in school time and all
Sure.
that you cannot. So
No, but I mean, you can
They
get,
sometimes
you can
do.
get a governess that can travel and teach at the same time. And
they can.
so-
He obviously, Checo Perez is a millionaire guy, and
Of
he has
course.
made a lot of money,
Sure.
and in that part he's covered already.
Sure.
He's covered. He's gonna be fine for the rest of his life,
Right.
for sure. Plus, he has a foundation. He has other businesses. But other than that, again, I don't think. I think the only motivation that he could have right now is considering that he could be a world champion.
I think that for him, in that mindset,
Might be the time to retire.
no.
No?
I think that in my mind, somebody like, has he been world champion?
It hasn't been.
He hasn't been. So
Just second place.
if you've come that far, you want that. Like, could you imagine?
It's the ultimate, yeah.
It's the ultimate. And so I wouldn't personally,
Yeah.
knowing how I personally am, and like I want to, you want to continue striving for the top. Like you've come so far, and you applaud exactly where you've been. But there's always that I want that one more. I want the title. I want the
I understand that hunger.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I can understand that part. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see again. I hope honestly, as a fan, I hope the best for him.
Of course.
And
Because
whatever
then
happens,
there's the other side of it too.
Yeah.
Where you could literally play in your mind, I want that, but I don't want to end my career on a down. Right?
Yeah,
Like so far down that
will be humiliating.
right. So I see that, but and then it's the fear of the unknown versus the desire to achieve. And so which mindset is going to play out
Yeah.
the most, and that's the interesting part.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I will keep you updated.
Have you ever interviewed him personally?
No, just his father. I was
Okay.
invited to the
I did see that.
deputy chamber in Mexico City. His father is a deputy and was pretty, I think that's one of the highlights of my life,
Nice.
actually.
Nice.
Because, when I was a little kid, I was a kind of a conflictive kid at school. So I would never think that I was going to be invited to political with such important for the country, right? So I was able to interview him there, and
That's incredible.
I made him cry, and it was a really good
Right.
interview. If you have a chance to watch it, I really recommend
I saw a
it.
little part of it, so
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing through.
Yeah, and obviously he talks about how it is to be a father of one of the best drivers in the world,
Sure.
right? So it's pretty interesting.
What do you think that, not only that you're from Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and what's your story? How is it that ended up coming to the Dominican Republic?
Well, that's a very good question. Thank you for letting me share that.
Yes.
I grew up in a mid-low class from Mexico City. To be honest, I went to the beach in my life probably 2 times. There was like a lot of like need in my house, even though we had food and we had
Sure,
a house. But honestly, there was no like too much luxury. And so I always strive for that. I always look to have a different life in my future. But again, I was not a good student. So it was pretty challenging because you need to find a way to do it without the traditional
Right.
way. The traditional way is going to college.
Right.
I went to college, but I didn't get a degree. I went for 3 years to university, but I didn't get a degree because the school was just not my thing.
Right.
And then things got even like more difficult for me to think about my future. I thought I was gonna be a failure, to
Right.
be honest. So, but I started learning English when I was 19 years old, and I think that opened to me a whole world. English was very, very important for me. Look at me right now. I'm talking to you in English.
Right.
So obviously that was super important. And obviously when the drivers talk and everything, you need to learn English because you need to transcribe the radios, the communication, all that. So I started working in call centers. And in those call centers, there was the need for tech support. And I always was like very like tech savvy. So I was like, well, I think I can apply for it. And little by little, I became like a tech support guy for companies like Verizon, Charter, like American companies, but from Mexico City.
Right.
Doing like what is it called? Outside?
Outsourcing.
Outsourcing, yeah. So eventually I got a job in the best company for tech support in Mexico City because of my experience. Even though I was really young, like when I was 22, 23, I was working in the best company in Mexico City in a really nice area.
Wow.
And by then I was invited by a Swedish company placed in Playa del Carmen in Mexico, video game company. And they took me over to Playa del Carmen. And it was an amazing experience, right? And they offered me twice the salary. They gave me housing. They paid my traveling there. And I relocated in Playa del Carmen. And I started like discovering a new lifestyle, very different from Mexico City.
Right.
And I loved it because Mexico City has a lot of prejudice stuff. Like, I'm dark skinned and it's important to be white in Mexico City
You're
to
dark
scale.
skin?
Yeah.
You're considered dark skin in Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah, moreno, yeah, right, yeah. So there is that in Mexico. It's called classism, probably.
Yep, of course.
And so it's difficult. I mean, I don't victimize myself about it.
No.
But it just was the way it was. But then when I went to Playa del Carmen, I was the Mexican one, and the girls were coming to Mexico to party and stuff like that.
Right.
And you see other face and you see that people don't think about that stuff either. Like the people don't care if you're brown or if you're fat. If you're a nice human being, you can get along with anyone, But yeah, I had so much things in my head because of the way things were in Mexico City, and not having money either, too, right? people care too much about your position
Right.
in Mexico City. And then in Playa del Carmen, nobody cared. Back then, in 15 years ago,
Right.
people were like in sandals and shorts everywhere. You would go
Right.
even to a nightclub in that way,
Yeah.
like, and so I learned many things there. And eventually I stopped working in that company that I told you, the video game company. But then I discovered tourism. And tourism, it's so nice, so kind,
Yep.
that accepts everyone. Tourism, you can be whatever you are, but if you want to work in tourism and you show that you want to work, people will give you a job,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started working for Palladium. Well,
Okay.
I worked for Cocobongo for a while.
Okay.
In Mexico.
All right.
I think that developed my PR skills.
Nice.
And then I worked for Palladium. And Palladium requirement, the most important was is to be able to travel.
Wow.
So they sent me here for 3 months 13 years ago.
Wow. So what position did you have when you were working?
I was like a salesperson in the vacation club.
And do you feel that, like you said with the call center, that's what helped you a lot, but was it your English that literally got you from one step to the next to the next? It was because you learned the English.
Yeah, because if I didn't speak English, I wouldn't be able to move forward,
Right.
or to improve my jobs and all that.
And that's really interesting because you hear a lot of people, you see a lot of people. It's like I used to teach English for workers at Vista Sol here, and a lot of them they were offering the class for their workers for free, and they're like, oh, but I'm being paid the same as the other people. I said, yeah, but when you leave here, if they have to
Have a
cut
new
you.
skill.
Right, but if they have to cut you and you have to go and find another job at a different hotel, who do you think they're going to hire first? The one that speaks English or the one that doesn't speak English? And they getting them to think like that was very, very difficult. I want to go back to when you said that, you struggled in school.
Yeah.
You weren't a good student. What was it, do you feel, that did not work for you?
No, I mean, I have done some like psychology work. That's the reason I can I've been with a therapist and all that, and I discovered things through
Sure.
that way. And pretty much I can say that to me, school was a sanctuary of freedom because I didn't have that at home. My father was pretty tight and difficult to deal with, and I didn't feel secure in my house. I didn't feel good. So when I was at school, it was like my playground. But I didn't understand that I was going to school for learning stuff. To me, it was like, I'm free, I'm fine here. I can laugh, I can joke around, I can be the goofy one. And I was like that. I would make everybody laugh. The teachers would say always the same. He's really smart, but he just doesn't have a good conduct, right? So I think I don't know too much about your school. I know a little, and I think the vision you have is the right one because you discover the actual skills of the kid and you develop those.
Yeah.
I think if people saw back in the day, it was different.
Sure.
Time, right?
Even today.
Yeah. Many people give you grades.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And probably
You're a nice kid. Let me give you a grade. Or I don't feel like teaching, so I'm just going to give you an A. And it is that way, in a lot of places. But I think also it depends on the type of learner you are. So if you can't see value or you don't see why you're doing it, it's very difficult to translate that to a child.
And I listen to a lot of people that have so much power in you to tell me you're gonna be a failure, like directors of school, teachers. But I remember this one teacher at university that told me, "Don't worry, you're gonna be successful. I can see it in you." I remember it so much because it was so different from the rest of stuff that I was listening. And when someone believes in you, it's super empowering,
Absolutely. Now, what was it about university? Like you said you went for 3 years and then you stopped. What, you just couldn't do it anymore? You just didn't see the value in it?
I was working while I was studying,
Uh-huh.
and I was paying. At the beginning, my father helped me. Because I had I even found a way to get a scholarship at the beginning, and but eventually I lost it because I was not that focused, and I was not dedicating myself into university.
Mm-hmm.
So he told me, well, now if you want to keep going, you have to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was making like $400 a month, and the university was probably $350. So
Right, so-
it was almost impossible to sustain. So I said that I was gonna take like a
break.
a year of a break, but they never went back.
Mm-hmm.
Do I regret? Yes, I think everybody that does something and doesn't finish it feels like that, right? Like I could have do it. Right, and I even dream with that nowadays, but I regret because of that.
Yeah.
But I don't regret the life I had and everything I have learning through
Right.
all this process.
Well, I can understand the part of wanting to start something and complete it. What were you studying?
Communication.
Okay. And how funny is
Yeah.
that? And look, I think that's where so many people mistake the idea of education, and you have to do it this way, and if not, you're not going to be anything. But I think if we look at the most successful people the majority of the most successful people in the world, they were not good in school.
Yeah.
Many didn't finish high school, there's a fly around me,
Yeah.
didn't finish university, and they came out fine. And I think that we have this notion of that's changing now.
It's changing, yeah.
It's changing very,
lot.
very quickly
Yeah.
because what people knew is becoming obsolete. And what is going to come in the future, nobody knows what the new jobs are going to be. And so...
Or if there are going to be jobs.
Right. Well, there will for those that are willing to change with the times. If you have those, what they call soft skills, and I hate that word because I like to call them essential skills. If you know communication, organization, time management, problem
To
solving,
entertain.
critical thinking, entertain, all of those things, those carry in no matter whatever
Yeah.
you decide to do. And so collaboration. And so if you're able to do that, and you have those skills, that's what needs to be taught right now to these kids or to the university. But they're just focusing on facts and memorization, and it's not going to help anybody at all because you're just training them to be dependent on telling me what to do, and then I'll do it. But
Yeah, it's pretty much like a memory training.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah. So I find that really interesting. When you left university, that must have been a really hard moment in your life because here you are, you completed 3 years, not as successfully as you would have wanted. And now you're like, oh my God, were you literally staring in the face of, am I really going to have to go back to my hometown and this is it?
In Mexico City, I was living with my parents back then. In Mexico City, the tradition is that you still
Okay.
live with your parents when you go to
Sure.
university. I know that in
Yeah,
US,
yeah.
you go to a different
Right,
state or
right,
something.
true.
Yeah, so I was still living with them. But then pretty much after that happened, I moved to Playa del Carmen.
So so when you left university, had you already had the job with
I
the
had
call center?
the call center
Okay,
jobs
so you
and all
already
that.
had the
I
call
started
center.
like probably seeing the light in the tunnel because I started to get better jobs. Probably probably also motivated me. It was like almost immediately, right? Like I didn't finish university and then I started like getting these better jobs, better paid and all that. And it was like probably through here.
Now,
So-
you said you started learning English at the age of 19.
Yeah.
Was that in university or was that something that you said, I need this?
No.
And what was that moment that you said, I need to learn this? Because a lot of people say, I want to learn English or I want to, but they aren't motivated enough to do it.
I think in my case was kind of different because I'm this kind of person that does certain things not because of the vision, but more because of the situation. So when I was working in a call center, I was in Spanish first, and I saw the people in English getting double the salary just for, and I was like, I want that, you know? And I applied 3 times. I was rejected twice. And I'm going to be honest with you, the third time I was accepted just as a coincidence because the supervisor that hired me, and I didn't know that, was in my same class in the university.
Oh my goodness.
So he started like talking to me and all that. I hesitate. I didn't speak properly. But she said, you know what? You're gonna stay, but you need to improve. And she said, I'm gonna give you the chance, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, you're Jennifer, right, from the UK? And she was like, shh, don't say anything right now.
Nice.
And that's the reason I got that job.
I don't believe in coincidences.
No.
You know, everything, because I think when you look back, you see, well, if that didn't happen, then this didn't happen. If that didn't happen, then this wouldn't have happened. And everything was a stepping stone for you to be where you are today. And so I have here Franklin. Franklin, you wanted to ask Herman a couple of questions, and I don't remember exactly what it was that you wanted to ask him, but please go ahead.
Right now, we have no so much time because to talk with Herman Cabello, we need just a program full 2 hours.
But what's the one question that you asked me that you said that you wanted me? You make sure you ask him about that.
How much cost a balcony or some place VIP when you come, for example, to Monte Carlos to see one race of Formula Uno?
Those ones, like a paddock seat or something like that, can be up to $30,000, $40,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been on one of those.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Wow. And another question, for example, how much gets one pilot like Michael Schumacher? He doesn't rise more, but the
top driver.
Those you mentioned before.
Well, for instance, Max Verstappen has a contract that is about $50 million approximately, but
many
that's
years?
nothing compared with the sponsor money.
Wow.
Because that probably combined can be over 100 million a year.
Is Formula Uno one of the most expensive sports in the world?
Yeah, definitely, but it's not the best paid though.
Oh.
There are jobs that, for instance, boxers make way more money in comparison.
Than drivers?
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Formula One?
You wouldn't believe it, right? But yeah, boxer can make in one fight $80 million.
One fight, yeah. But you're also, well, I guess the
Cristiano Ronaldo makes more money by contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
The soccer player.
Soto, the baseball Dominican baseball player, he gets $7,000 million now.
Yeah.
70
70
million, probably.
million.
$70 million.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, even Alex Rodriguez back in the day, he made millions each year in their contracts.
So the drivers are not the best paid, but they get paid really well.
But Formula One, I think the racing in and of itself, the car, the money that goes into it, I think it's probably the most expensive.
And it's the only sport that has a season through different countries.
Right. Which
most
is
of
really interesting.
Yeah. Most of the sports are in one country.
Right.
Okay.
And you have to transfer that. But
before we finish,
Yes.
I want to say thank you so much for all the peoples are connecting with our YouTube. For example, Pris Sportiva.
That's Priscilla.
Priscilla.
Nice.
Yes, she's
Hi,
here.
Priscilla.
Yes, we have here también Tu Polvo.
Sol y Gasolina.
Sol y Gasolina.
Yeah.
Yes.
My guys. Those are
all
my
your
guys.
followers, I love it.
Axel Hertz.
Axel Hertz. Yeah.
Yes, hello to our
Hello.
Jared.
I don't remember that one.
Jared. Yes, those people are here with us, connecting right now on YouTube on Punta Cana Hits. Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you. Okay. Any final words? We didn't even get to
Wow.
your
It went
the
by
event.
so fast, right?
It did go by so fast.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know here in the Punta Cana area, you have your other business, which is your events and entertainment business. So do you want to take the last couple minutes to talk about that, so that this way, you know, those that are listening also can learn a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, really quick. So GC Star is a company that started out of nowhere because I was, as you heard, I was doing nothing related with that. And one day somebody told me, I need someone that speaks English that can talk on a microphone for an event. And I grabbed that microphone and I said, this is my thing. I love to be able to handle an event and all that. And little by little, I became a DJ and an MC. And then I was getting a lot of work by that. I became a really recognized DJ. And then I became the manager of a company related to that stuff, events and all that. And then I learned everything about handling a business, right? Like administrative part. And eventually I met a guy that wanted to invest a certain amount of money. And I said, I know what kind of business you can do.
Yeah, right?
And we became business partners. And we started this company 10 years ago. Eventually I bought his part. And now it's my company called GC Start. And we are a top-rated company. And we have amazing customers like Casa de Campo, Sanctuary in Cape Cana, and a lot of like different resorts. And we are like pretty well known mostly in the weddings industry, mostly for weddings. Yeah.
Wow. Now, it's interesting because I just want everybody out there that's listening to understand how important learning English has been in your life.
It's been everything.
And the opportunities that the doors open. You too, you yourself, your personality, your ability, your hunger, your drive, obviously that takes precedence also. But that English piece is huge. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Germán, for being here. Germán Cabello, and please go to Geek Sobre Ruedas.
Yes.
And watch his videos, listen to his commentaries on Formula One. And if you're here in the Punta Cana area and you're looking for an entertainment company, please look at GC Star Punta Cana. And this is Christy Maggio with What's Up Punta Cana. Until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.
Every Friday at 7 p.m., Punta Cana Hits presents What's Up Punta Cana with Christy Maggio, the #1 English talk show in the area, with the best that the Dominican Republic and the rest of the world have to offer.
Are you ready to dream? To reach for more with stories that open every door. What's up? Punta Cana with Christy Maggio right here for you. What passion meets success, inspiring dreams come true. From entrepreneurs to hidden gems, each story shows what life can lend. Tune into 90.3, feel the vibe, get inspired too. What's up, Punta Cana, bringing dreams to you. Are you ready to dream, to reach for more, with stories that open every door? What's up, Punta Cana with Christy Maggio right here for you. What passion meets success, inspiring dreams come true. From entrepreneurs to hidden gems, each story shows what life can lend. Tune into 90.3, feel the vibe, get inspired too. What's up, Punta Cana, bringing dreams to you. From entrepreneurs to hidden gems, each story shows what life can lend. Tune into 90.3, feel the vibe, get inspired too. What's up, Punta Cana, bringing dreams to you.
¿Para qué estar dando vueltas si todo está en un solo lugar?
Papelería Higüeyana.
Papelería Higüeyana tiene todo lo que usted necesita para equipar la oficina, la escuela, el hogar y mucho más, con los mejores precios, calidad, garantía y el mejor servicio a domicilio. Estamos más cerca de usted, en Bávaro, Avenida España, entre el Centro Médico Punta Cana y Comoma. Teléfonos 809-552-0884 y 552-0717. En Verón, frente a Montilla Motors, Plaza Roque 3, teléfono 809-455-1565.
Papelería Higüeyana, en precios, calidad y servicio, la más completa.
Papelería Higüeyana, ayer, hoy, mañana y siempre, la más completa.
óptica escalada, donde tu visión es lo más importante.
En Óptica Escalada nos comprometemos con lo más importante, tu visión. Ubicados en la Avenida España, esquina Las Margaritas, en Plaza Business Center, Bávaro. Somos la óptica más avanzada en tecnología, con profesionales expertos en el área de la oftalmología. Si eres residente de la zona turística, tenemos algo especial para ti. Un 30% de descuento en todos nuestros servicios. Y porque sabemos que cada miembro de tu familia es único, ofrecemos atención especializada para niños y envejecientes. No esperes más. Llama ahora al 849-517-4111 y dale a tu visión el cuidado que merece con Óptica Escalada.
Donde tu visión es lo más importante.
Ven a firmar.
Durante el mes de diciembre, Punta Cana Hits, en su compromiso con el pueblo dominicano, brinda apoyo a la reconocida plataforma activista Somos Pueblo en su campaña de recolección de firmas para la eliminación de los abusivos pagos a los funcionarios a través del barrilito, cofrecito y zonas aledañas. Los jueves 5, 12 y 19 de diciembre estaremos transmitiendo en vivo desde un punto específico que te dejaremos saber a través de nuestra programación de panel. Defendamos nuestro sudor.
Y en Bávaro, en Punta Cana, apoyen la causa. Vamos finalmente a someter la iniciativa legislativa popular para eliminar los privilegios inmerecidos de los congresistas y el financiamiento público de los partidos políticos.
Ven y firma con Somos Pueblo y Punta Cana Hits.
Tutoriales que he visto de maquillaje y no sé dónde conseguir los productos. Yo quiero verme así como esas influencers. Sé que lo puedo lograr. Ah, pero ahora que lo recuerdo, en Chinatown, en la planta baja al lado de la escalera, hay una tienda llamada Sailu, donde sé que puedo encontrar todo lo que necesito. Sailu, búscalo en Instagram, sailu.do.
Mana, la verdad que el dinero no está rindiendo nada. ¿Y dónde que tú compras? Allí, en la esquina. Oh, es que tú estás mal. Dale para la tienda IKEA.
La escuché hablar de la tienda IKEA. ¿Qué puedo encontrar allá?
En tu tienda IKEA encuentras ropas, calzados, juguetes, cosméticos, plásticos, cristalerías, accesorios, muebles, electrodomésticos, adornos y mucho más. Todo lo que te puedes imaginar en un solo lugar. Encuéntranos en la avenida Barceló y en Verón, Punta Cana. Síguenos en Instagram como @tienda IKEA. En tu tienda IKEA las temporadas están de ofertas todo el año. Siempre contigo, tu tienda IKEA, más por menos.
Atención a los conductores.
En Frank Cristales somos el líder en cristales para autos, con el almacén más grande de la zona este. Si necesitas reemplazo o reparación de cristales, no dudes en visitarnos, porque en Frank Cristales somos los más capacitados. Estamos ubicados en la avenida Barceló, entre Pueblo Bávaro y Autorepuesto Montilla. Contáctanos hoy mismo al 829-968-6389 o 829-703-5254 y dale a tu vehículo la calidad que se merece. Frank Cristales, la solución para tus cristales de auto.
La aldea navideña CEPEM regresa el 6, 7 y 8 de diciembre de 6 de la tarde a 10 de la noche en el anfiteatro del San Juan Shopping Center. Disfruta de actividades para toda la familia, shows navideños, pista de patinaje, malabaristas, pintacaritas, inflables y mucho más. No te pierdas un fin de semana lleno de festividad y alegría. CEPEM, energizando la Navidad.
Atención camioneros y empresas de vehículos pesados. Ángel Ramírez Truck Parts tiene todo tipo de repuestos a su alcance. Fabricación de mangueras hidráulicas, baterías, lubricantes, accesorios y un extenso inventario para cubrir las necesidades de su unidad de transporte. Ángel Ramírez Truck Parts, Avenida Barceló, Plaza Canatown, cerca del cruce del Ayuntamiento de Verón. 809-455-3265 y 829-928-0498. Ángel Ramírez Truck Parts.
Si quieres comer carne de la pura, si quieres comer mofocos de Doña Pula, vámonos a comer donde Doña Pula, vámonos a comer donde venden el tajo de verdad. ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? Me voy pa' donde Pula. Dicen en Santiago y el Cibao entero de que en Doña Pula el sazón es bueno, buenísimo. ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? Me voy pa' donde Pula. Los aguiluchos y los liceitas vengan a comer esta carne frita. ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? Me voy pa' donde Pula. ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? ¿A dónde Pula? Me voy pa' donde Pula.
El Aeropuerto Internacional de Bávaro será el aeropuerto